vinyl community, music lovers, and anyone else who just happened to stumble upon this video. Welcome to Tone and Grooves. My name is Jeff, and you are watching the next installment of Deep in the Grooves. And what we're going to do during this episode is a Purple Rain Shootout. Which purple reigns? We've got a copy of the original pressing of Purple Rain, along with the recent reissue. This is the little bit of glare on that because the silver foil jacket, but this is the recent reissue, reissue 2015 Paisley Park Remaster, a mix overseen by Prince on vinyl, 180 gram pressing. And we also then have, for a third comparison, the recent CD reissue, also the 2015 remaster. This is the deluxe set with the extra CDs and DVD. So I'm going to dive into it. Yes, you know, this has been a labor of love, but also kind of beginning to drive me a little bit crazy, to be honest. I've been listening to these vinyl versus vinyl, and then throwing in a listen on CD, been going song by song. I've listened to these on 2 different stereo systems. I have, and then through the speakers and on headphones. And like I said, I don't know, labor of love, maybe that's a little bit nuts. But anyway, it's time to just call it quits and be done and make this video and share my opinions with you. Anyway, like I said, 2 different stereos. I've got a stereo upstairs. It's an older, must be a late 80s, early 90s Yamaha receiver that has its own, built-in phono, preamp. And then I also have my system downstairs, which is where I listen to music most often, which is a Harman Kardon, really a home theater receivers amplifier that does not have a built-in phono preamp. So when I use this system down here, I have to use the built-in phono preamp that's in my Audio-Technica turntable. And that had, a vast difference in sound between those 2 systems. Anyway, so weighing all that out and just kind of taking all that into consideration, here's what I've come up with, and here's what it's come down to for me. We'll go in generalities, and then it does. I think these 2 different pressings, issues vary a little bit song to song. In general. The original master, or the original pressing, I would say has a sound that is, I would describe as much lighter, airy, it's brighter in general. Sometimes, as we get into more specific songs, to me that sounds thinner, which is not a positive. That's a negative description. But we'll go when we get to various songs. The recent reissue, to me, overall sounds has a heavier bottom end, more bass. It is, I would describe it as a thicker sound. In some cases, on some songs, I think that tends to go to the negative, and that becomes a muddy sound. But like I said, we'll get to that when we get to specific songs. And then I would also, anyway, we'll talk about the CD later. Anyway, the more I will say, the more I listen to this, the more I like it. When first time through, I was like, oh my gosh, the original pressing is just so much better. I didn't really like the reissue sound, to be honest, when I first time through. The more I listen to it, the more I do like it. But I think that it does vary for me a little bit from song to song. For example, to me, let's see. Take Me With You. Take Me With You benefits highly from the recent reissue. On the original, that song is very thin, has a very thin sound. The reissue it beefs it up. It adds more life to the song, definitely. Computer Blue, I think, also benefits on the 2015 reissue greatly. To me, that it brings out a lot more separation of instruments that I don't think I'd ever really heard before. Computer Blue there's a lot going on in that song, and I think that the reissue really does it some extraordinary justice. It sounds really good. There's a grittiness to to these synth parts on Computer Blue that just sound great when that's brought out. Like I said, there is like just a heavy bottom end to all of this. Let's Go Crazy has a really kind of a new heavy punch to the bass that is very pleasing. I think I Would Die For You also benefits from that, a very kind of heavier bass punch to it as well. Some of the songs are kind of a wash between the two, I would say. Darling Nikki to me was kind of a wash between the two versions. Purple Rain was a little bit of a wash, although it does tend to benefit from that kind of heavier bottom end that we get on the 2015 remix. There are some negatives to it as well, though. I would say, let's go back to The Beautiful Ones. Is also one that I think benefits from a little bit more separation of instrumentation. There's a really cool kind of bluesy, jazzy piano little flourishes that Prince is doing there on the piano in The Beautiful Ones that comes out a little more on the 2015 reissue. That is just really cool. But there are some negatives, I think, as well. To me, and this has been online, it's been posted ever since this 2015 remix came out, or remaster came out. The end of Let's Go Crazy, that heavy guitar and drum kind of finale on Let's Go Crazy is completely, blown out. It's clippy. It's very muddy, a very muddy sound on the remaster. So in that case, the original pressing to me sounds better. It's just it's too much on the remaster from 2015. In my opinion, Baby I'm a Star is also the same thing. And I guess what's interesting is I've kind of thought about this for a while now is that songs on Purple Rain that were thin in their sound and didn't have a lot of heavy bottom end or bass punch on the original benefit from this 2015 remaster. It brings out more bass and a heavier bottom end that they were lacking before, but that, in my opinion, tends to go too far and become muddy on songs that they already had a heavy bass punch or bottom end, like Baby I'm a Star and that finale on Let's Go Crazy. To me, Baby I'm a Star in the 2015 remaster is just it's too much. It's very muddy. But like I said, but songs like Take Me With You that were kind of very thin sounding on the original really benefit from this new remaster. So it's kind of hard to pick between the two, like which one is better. It actually becomes a little bit difficult to just pick a hands down winner. As I said, I'm more and more as I listen to this, I'm enjoying this. I really like the sound of this 2015 remaster the more I listen to it. But like I said, there are some negatives. That clippy ending to Let's Go Crazy and the really kind of muddy bass of Baby I'm a Star. What's very interesting, I will say, is that the CD, many of these songs really benefit from the CD mastering or recording, I guess you'd say. The dynamic range, in my opinion, of the CD is fantastic. It just really, some of these songs, like I mentioned, the beautiful ones, it just, the remaster brings out those little nuances that you kind of, don't notice so much on the original pressing. Like in the beautiful ones, those, that kind of jazzy, bluesy piano flourishes. In Computer Blue, there's like multiple synth parts going on, this kind of mogish kind of, kind of bombastic kind of flourish that's going on, but then also this kind of heavy, almost guitar sounding synth part that's also kind of driving this kind of gritty synth part that's driving that song along. There's so much more separation between those instruments that comes out in the remaster, and all of that on the CD is even more distinct. Those little jazzy piano flourishes on the beautiful ones are much more distinct on the CD than they are on the 2015 remaster vinyl edition. Those synth parts in Computer Blue also much more distinct. So the dynamic, there's just an expanded dynamic range on the CD, in my opinion, that just brings out more of that separation of instrumentation and all of those little nuances going on in there. The downside is, as is the case, in my opinion, with CD in general or digital in general, is that there is kind of a cold harshness to the sound. That to me is it's a little grating. It's a coldness, it's a harshness of sound. So it's really kind of hard to pick a hands down winner. I guess it really, as with so many things with different pressings and different versions and whatnot, it really kind of comes down to what you prefer. I would say, for the person who really likes a lighter, more brighter sound, an original pressing of Purple Rain is the way to go. For those who like a heavier, kind of more bassy, heavier bottom end, thicker sound, the new repress or remaster vinyl edition is certainly the way to go. And if you want to, for those who want to get the full dynamic range of things, I would say the CD is the way to go. If you already have an original pressing of Purple Rain, it doesn't sound bad. I mean, it definitely sounds different than the remaster. Obviously, if you already have an original pressing, you just want to hear this new remaster. I'd be tempted to say is go with the CD. Get the CD. You're going to get that wide dynamic range that the CD provides, and you're also going to get all those extras, the 2 extra CDs and the bonus tracks and whatnot, and you even get the DVD. You can watch the Syracuse. The Live in Syracuse concert, although the video quality is terrible, so I don't know that that's if you're a vinyl person and if you don't have Purple Rain at all, man, I guess I'd say you might want to just go with the new reissue. Definitely, especially if price is about the same. It's kind of crazy what Prince stuff has been going for lately. I've been really surprised. I mean, I'm a Prince collector. I've collected Prince for decades, and I've been completely surprised by some of the prices that people are asking for on some of the Prince stuff now since his death. We've got a junk shop here in town that's had a price tag of $75 on an original Purple Rain vinyl pressing, and I mean, really $75? That's just nuts. So I honestly haven't looked. I don't know what original pressings that Purple Rain are going for now on Discogs and whatnot. If they're in the $20 to $25 range, I maybe just go with the reissue, or especially if they're more than that. I think this was like $24 on Amazon, something like that. So I I don't know. There you have it. I don't know how helpful that is. I just thought share that with you. It's it's really kind of interesting to compare and contrast, and the bottom line is you're not gonna be going back and forth between one record and another. You're gonna put one on the turntable and you're gonna listen to that all the way through. And I think the 2015 remaster and reissue is definitely a very enjoyable record to listen to. Watch out for that. Watch out for that grand finale on Let's Go Crazy though. It is a little clippy. So there you have it. I mean, it's an awesome album. It's a great record. It is a classic. And I do think the new remaster really does kind of beef things up a little bit, which is nice to hear, and nice to see. It's also a really a high end product. I mean, the vinyl is thick and heavy. It's really well done. My pressing or my copy was very quiet. The sleeve is an exact replica of the original. It's a nice thick heavy grade paper. It does, and I've shown this in another video, so it does come with a reproduction of the original poster, which is also on a very nice thick heavy paper. It's a well done reissue, and like I said, there's some pluses and minuses to that, the bass and the heavy bottom end. But anyway, there you have it. There's my, I don't know, which one reigns? I don't know if I'm going to pick a winner. It all comes down to what you really like. If you like lighter rain, the original pressing is the way to go. If you like heavier rain, go with the 2015 reissue. I think that's really what it comes down to. What you personally prefer. There you have it. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much for the subscriptions. Continue to gain a few every week or so, and love the comments on the videos, and just really enjoy that interaction. So thank you so much for watching, for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. Really appreciate that. Until next time, stay in the groove.